Well, our friends at Alpha/Aldi are at it again. As a lot of you know, they are kind of the knockoff incarnate brand. They have the knockoff Beyblades in the form of Infinity Natto. They have knockoff Ever After High. They have knockoff Aikatsu. They have knockoff Power Rangers. And for their knockoff Transformers series, they actually have a little kids show called Super Wings. Super Wings is a show about a little robot plane named Jet. As a delivery plane, it is Jet's job to take various packages and deliveries around the world in order to meet new people and explore new cultures.
Woo! Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
In every episode, Jet tends to stick around and see what's going on with his delivery, but inevitably trouble strikes, and that's when he has to call in the Super Wings. The Super Wings are a group of aerial vehicles who have different purposes from rescue to irrigation to high-speed stunts and so forth. And usually each episode has Jet interacting with one or more of them. Now, the idea of going out and seeing new cultures and meeting new people is a nice one, although I admit they handle it kind of clumsily at times.
You can't wait, eh?
Eh?
It's something a lot of Canadians say at the end of a sentence. Say "eh" and you'll fit right in.
My sincerest apologies to our friendly neighbors to the north. It's not perfect, but overall I'd say it's a pretty good show. While it hasn't quite taken on the life of things like Paw Patrol or PJ Masks, it's still been pretty popular, and a lot of people can stream it straight off of the Sprout website. And then, of course, there are the toys. Now, most of these toys came out last year, but a lot of them are still available and worth a look, and they're going to have a whole new wave of these characters coming out in the fall, so we're going to take a look at some of these. The most basic figures are, of course, the Transformers, which run between $8 and $10. So let's take a look at our main character, Jet, here. Now, Jet is a pretty good indicator of the sorts of things you'll get with these $10 figures. He's pretty nice and straightforward. He's got the rocket boosters in the back. He has landing gear. The landing gear does fold up, and you can actually fold it up into him in vehicle mode so that you can have him fly through the sky or what have you. His transformation is pretty straightforward. You just pull out the legs. You fold up the elevator, the horizontal stabilizer. You bring them down, and then you separate the legs by pulling them apart. These parts here on the feet rotate in order to become our feet. The landing gear stows up. You close his back in order to get actually a pretty good look there. It's makes things look nice and clean. And then of course you pull out his arms, which are the doors. They just kind of pull straight out, and then the hand folds out and the arm pulls down, and there's our Jet. He one thing about Jet that kind of makes him stand out from a lot of the other Super Wings is that he actually looks really good in a 360. Having that back fold down and thus conceal a lot of the inside guts of the vehicle is actually a very nice little touch and makes him look a lot more crisp and clean. Dizzy the helicopter works a bit differently. You do have a nice spinning propeller on the top. However, the way she transforms is that her legs actually make up the back of the helicopter. So her legs actually fold down, and as a result, when you have them, they actually have bending knees, which is kind of a neat benefit. It's always nice to see when a transformation gives some extra articulation. And just like Jet, her arms pull out here. Our hand folds down, arm extends. You can do that with the other one. And the other thing you do with Dizzy is that her back folds in. Now, her 360 isn't quite as elegant as Jet's, but it still looks pretty good, all things considered. The fact that you can bend the knee is kind of nice. You can put her into like some kind of running pose or what have you. It's a pretty fun basic toy. I don't know if they have any other helicopters out there or anything that transforms quite like Dizzy, but she's a pretty good model. And finally, we have Jerome. Now, Jerome is a bit of a unique animal among the Super Wings in that his transformation method is completely different and perhaps the least user-friendly. Now, Jerome, you can kind of see his feet folded up back there. Of course, like Jet, you can fold up his landing gear when he is in vehicle mode in order to make him into a flying jet. Now, in order to transform him, you pull the legs out of the back, fold them down, and there's actually a segment of his body here that actually kind of comes down with it that you actually need to kind of push back in order to convert him back into vehicle mode, and this can be kind of unintuitive and a bit of a pain in the butt, so that is the only reason that makes Jerome a little bit less intuitive. But yeah, you just kind of have to line it up and push it back in with your thumb in order to get Jerome back into his flying mode. But continuing from there, his that whole big section comes down. You fold in the horizontal stabilizers again, and you unfold his nice, heavy mecha feet that you have here. His arms are instead his intakes, which fold out and pull down. And to finish him off, his wings fold up. Now, Jerome's 360 is pretty okay. His back is a bit exposed. It's really only Jet and the other planes like him who fold into that pose, but Jerome, he looks pretty cool. He's got the arms that pull out. He's got a little bit of knee flexibility. He can, of course, bend his feet a little bit in order to compensate for that. And while he is the least user-friendly, there are some other characters who transform like him. It's good enough. If he's a little difficult to reassemble together, that's the thing. That's where his legs connect on that you have to kind of push in. That's really the only difficulty there. But otherwise, Jerome's a pretty nice figure. I still say out of the three of them, Jet is probably the nicest, although that's probably the good thing because he's the main character, so everybody's gonna want the figures of him probably, and the fact that he's easily the nicest looking out of these is a pretty admirable thing. I actually really like these. They are kind of simple in how they're aimed at little kids, but they're not so simple as to be insulting. Their transformations are just complicated enough in order to be engaging. And for some extra fun, you can actually stow the landing gear while they're in vehicle mode to have them fly around like planes. It's clear that they've actually put a pretty good amount of thought into this. Now, new for this year are the Transformabots. Now, different from the larger ones is that their transformations are very simple. You just kind of barely fold out the arms, fold down the legs, and that's about it. It's kind of like a lot of the micro Transformers that you might have seen from Generation 1 or like the Minicons or something like that. They're not terribly sophisticated, but they're usually sold in packs of 4 for pretty cheap, so if you maybe don't want to get some of the larger ones, these smaller ones are just as much fun, and they also fit with a lot of the smaller playsets that they've put out for them. Then, of course, we have the small pre-posed collectible figures. These are the nice basic ones. They're pretty cheap, pretty easy to get, although I don't think they quite have the same amount of value as you get with the Transformabots, but like I said, these standard ones, these $10 ones, are definitely a very good deal for the size you get. Like I said, they're not the most articulated things in the world, but they're aimed at kids, and like I said, they are just complex enough. So yeah, like I said, there's some more characters coming out this fall. There's going to be a new stunt plane, there's going to be like a drilling plane, there's going to be a space shuttle, which is going to be really cool, and Jet and the gang can now combine with these larger super robot forms. They are no longer the super wings, they are the super wings. Man, how are they going to come up with a new title for that? So, that's a quick look at Super Wings. It is Alpha/Aldi's first real effort into breaking into the international market. Now, hopefully they will be able to send me some more stuff, like of course there is Infinity Nado that I know several of you people have been asking me to go over. I'm going to see if I can get something on that. They also have put out something called Optimorphs, which is apparently something that is Bakugan-like, or that's how it was described to me by one of the people at Toy Fair anyway, so we'll be able to see more at that. Who knows? I might even do more kid shows like this. Like, who knows? I might do Shimmer and Shine or something like that. But anyway, until next time, this is Kohdok signing off.